Captain's Vlog Brew Day 010.
Walk with the rich, walk with the poor. Learn from everyone, that's what love is for. Don't let nobody drag your spirit down. Well, we're walking up the heaven, Lord. Don't let nobody turn you around. Well, I might say things sound strange to you. I might preach the gospel. I believe it's true.
Okay guys, very quick update today. So last week we finished with making our 009, which you can go and see all the formula and the ratios and all that stuff for this. And we tried to include a little bit more carrier and eliminate the lanolene from the equation, and it has worked. The wax doesn't grab so much now, comes off a little bit easier. But to cut a long story very short, I personally found this wax a bit prone to smearing, not being greasy, but smearing. And looking at my basic ratios, I think I'm low on carrier. Okay, so I'm running, what was it, 15 grams of carrier oil roughly, with the 3 of pine, so about 18, well below my wax ratio. So anyway, I had one pot of 009 spare because I had made 2 pots of it. So I've sent that wax off to a guy called DBLA, who, if you look on the Detailing World forum, is doing a very similar thing, brewing his own wax, which is fantastic. And he's doing loads of them and doing the similar sort of thing, learning about these things and looking to try and perfect it. So I'm sending him one of my samples, and he's sending me one of his, which would be fantastic to have a play around with another wax. But yeah, while that's happening, my personal opinion is I'm way low on carriers. So what I'm doing with this particular brew, 010, is I'm splitting it into 2, 10A and 10B. Now I'm using the same wax ratios that I used in the previous ones. So that is 5 Carnauba, 13B, 2 Montana, 4 paraffin. Okay, but I am using in one brew, just as a carrier, 3 grams of kiwi oil, and in the other one I'm using 30 grams of kiwi oil. Okay, and the same ratio of solvents, 59 grams of the phase, 1 gram of the D-limonene. Now the purpose of this isn't to make a great usable wax. It's the purpose for me is to see what a wax looks like when it's got ridiculously low amounts of carrier oil versus what it looks like when it's got ridiculously high amounts of carrier oil. So that is the purpose of the blend here. It's all about learning, not making a workable wax. So I'm going to now melt this stuff down and make the wax. Okay guys, so here is FF10 with low oil, and there's FF10 with high oil. So we're going to let those cure and test them out tomorrow. Okay guys, so it's been about 10-12 hours since this morning. Okay guys, so it's been about 10 hours since this wax kind of was poured, so it's a little bit of a short time, but it's hard enough, and it's just about good to use. So now obviously the first thing you notice with the low carrier and the high carrier is the low carrier was a lot harder, a lot more candle-like, I suppose, and obviously a lot more wax based, because there's virtually no carrier in here. I think, was it 3 grams, and this one with 30 grams of carrier, through the roof amount of carrier. Now just to the touch, you can notice this one is really oily and greasy and slippery and stays on your kind of fingers, whereas this one's kind of more waxy. Now when you apply them, this one here is a lot kind of drier. It's a lot more grabby, ridiculously grabby. It still comes off okay as long as you don't leave it to haze too long. This one, you know, actually comes off really nice considering it's ridiculously high carrier. But it's very kind of greasy on your fingers. It's very slip slidey on the cloth. Now in terms of finish, the high carrier creates an additional level of gloss that this doesn't have, and you can kind of feel the extra kind of texture on the paintwork. You know, it's much better with carrier. So just one sort of very quick thing that I learned is, you know, if you had to have the lesser of two evils, you'd probably want to be having more carrier in your wax than less carrier. You know, if there's an ideal sweet spot, and that sweet spot is X, then X plus some amount of carrier is better than X minus some amount of carrier, in my opinion. I think from what I've been doing, playing around today, this has been on 2 different cars and my test panel as well, so I'll keep an eye out for durability. Definitely with gloss, the extra carrier does make a difference. Also with the extra carrier, you don't get that smearingness when it just comes off the car a lot easier and gives you better kind of results straight away. And I think in my other video, was it 009 or 08, where I was sort of doing some testing against some waxes that I've already got, like this Infinity wax. This has definitely got significantly more carrier than my wax that I was pitching it up against. I think this has got more carrier than wax. Yeah, because it feels, now I've been playing around with loads of carrier, it feels similar, more similar to the one with loads of carrier than the one I tested it against. And this is a strange one, this R22, because I'm really trying to get my head around what's going on with this R22. And I think this R22 is, the wax blend is different, you know, I know that. I think this is just 2 waxes. I think it's Nuba and beeswax, and I think there's a lot of carnauba in here because of it's got this sandy like roughness to it. But this is so greasy, this wax, and so loose. It's so greasy. It's loaded with carrier, this wax. I mean, even I'd say, you know, it's hard for you to see this, but this wax is so, the R222, it's so oily and greasy, it's unbelievable. But it's one of the best for providing gloss. And I think you're getting most of your gloss from this, from that initial, from those oils that are in there. So I think they're using some really nice oil mixes. And I'd love to know what carriers they've got in there. This is my ultra high carrier one, and it's also very greasy, but even maybe less so than this one. So I actually learnt, like I say today, from this very quick video. I didn't film myself putting it on and taking it off the car, because you've seen all those types of shots before, and it's really to keep the video quite short. Probably one of the most important lessons learned today, and that is that one mistake that I think I've been making all the way through this is the amount of carrier I'm using. And I think I need to go back to a basic rule of wax making that I've been ignoring, which is if X is your amount of wax, so say per 100 I've got 25 grams of wax in various formats, then my oil carrier ratio should probably be higher than that wax, so maybe 25, 30. So say 25 wax, 30 carrier, and that leaves me 45 solvent. Something more along those lines. So I think I've been running quite high solvent at various stages, very low carrier, and probably just about right on the wax, you know, somewhere. So yeah, we need to be going up with our carriers, and we need to keep doing more and more research on our carriers. But the aim is to get us that good balance. I think if you're doing a natural wax and you're putting in too many carriers, the downside is that's going to wash away easier. The more wax you got in there, the more and that, you know, if that wax is easy to remove, the higher wax content you get, the more protection you're going to get, and the more qualities, you know, all the extra luster, everything that wax is giving you is going to be higher. So yeah, that's where we are. But like I say, another thing I learned, well I knew anyway, don't use these cloths. They just, geez, they just fall apart and, you know, all the fluff comes off of them. Yeah, so we're going to carry on working with our next formulas, 11, 12, 13, whatever, to getting the right balance so that we've got a nice good gloss, easy to remove wax. And when we've got that baseline where we've got the balance ratios a bit better, then we've got to stop at some point ultimately and then look at putting the synthetic ingredients in to give us, because we've got all this gloss boost, we've got a nice wax that's easy to use, and the synthetic ingredients are going to give us the durability. And I think the synthetic ingredient that I want to look into is the siloxane, the SiO2 stuff. So that's where we are, and probably more wax updates to come this week. So thanks for watching.